let's get started. Call this meeting of the Charter Review Commission to order. Call roll. Marianne Baker.
Here.
Royce Belcher.
Here.
Gary Clarity.
Here.
Brian Crook, absent. Stephanie Dennis.
Here.
Landon Gully.
Here.
Debbie Jenkins.
Here.
Gerard Mitchell. Linda Potts. Alberto Rodriguez. Absent. Okay. First order of business is the election of officers. I was going to chair the meeting until we elected officers, and then I will turn the chair over to whoever is elected chairman. Thought that would be easier than trying to appoint someone temporarily. Sometimes that puts in everybody's mind that that's who needs to be chair. So I thought it was a little bit fairer way to do it. Mr. Gully.
Nominate Gary Clarity for chair.
Okay. Have a nomination of Gary Clarity for chair. Are there other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Other nominations? Okay. Seeing no other nominations, entertain a motion to elect Gary by acclamation. Okay. Ms. Jenkins makes that motion. Second to that motion? Don't need one. Okay, Jack. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Clarity, will you accept this position? Okay. I should have asked you that before we voted on you. I apologize. All right, next would be vice chair. Open the floor to nominations for vice chair. If you're not using your mic, turn it off. Just hit the button and it'll go off. Kind of keeps the ringing back. Any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Miss Marianne.
You decline? Is that what you said? Okay. Okay, she's declined as vice chairman.
I nominate Miss Debbie Jenkins.
Debbie Jenkins. I think somehow the volume got boosted on this thing. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations? Seeing none, hearing none.
Make a motion on this.
Okay.
Gary Jenkins be elected vice chair as acclamation.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Congratulations, Ms. Jenkins. Thank you for serving. Secretary. Open the floor for nominations for secretary. Okay, we have a nomination of Marianne Baker. Are there other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, hearing none.
Make a motion that Ms. Marianne Baker be elected by acclamation.
Have a motion to elect Marianne by acclamation. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Say no. It is done. Mr. Clarity, it's all yours. Nope. I did my due.
Well, I know we got a lot of new members and most of you probably haven't seen their charter, don't have a copy or anything else, but we'll try to get you all one with the old one and the revised one. And the only thing we're here to discuss tonight is changing from budget. You usually do it on 3 readings, and the comptroller has asked to make a resolution to do it by resolution. And if anybody wants to discuss anything on it or whatever, we can have discussion. Mr. Gully.
You said the comptroller has made a recommendation, is that correct? So at this point, it's really nothing more than a recommendation in their facet that they think we ought to move it to a resolution, which would be one vote versus right now, just to be understanding that where we are, your county court looks at a budget, and the budget comes to us. We take a little time, look it over. We have our first read of that budget. Budget goes in front of us for the first read. All the members take a little time to look over it. To be honest with you, in my personal opinion, in the 3 years there I've been on the county court, I think a lot of commissioners who are working full-time jobs as well don't get a lot of time to really read that piece as much as they maybe need to read it. It's the budget of the county, the working budget of the county. Now, members that have put it together, not shouldn't say members, but a mayor and people like that, they kind of know what's in it. You know what I'm saying? For me, as sitting on the county commission at this point right now, I understand there's a recommendation made, but I don't see this as anything that we have to do. So I personally ask that we think about this as your county court. And you talk to those people that are on the court before we make a decision in this place right here to make those moves. Because 3 reads, we never go past 2, and it doesn't slow us down. It doesn't stop us. We actually put in some pieces into play a year and a half ago now, where we won't run into that situation where we ran into 3 years ago when education was slow to get some things to us. It wasn't anyone's fault. It was just how things ran out at that point. But now there's some pieces in play where that education has got to turn us in a budget at X amount of time. So we won't run into those pieces where July comes and we don't have a budget in place. We should not see that part. I have not been on this court yet where we went past 2 readings. In that meaning, if 2/3, a majority vote of the county court on the second read, the second time we read it. So you read it in the month of May, you read it in the month of June. If 2/3 of the budget of the commission votes that night, we can go on and do the third read that night. So it doesn't take a special meeting or an extra meeting day. So just make sure that we're all aware. Listen, when I got on this thing a long time ago, or 3 years ago, I should say, right? It seems like a long time ago now because I didn't know that much about it, just to be straight up with you, being completely honest. Please look into those things. When we look into this charter and things that we make decisions on here in this piece as you join this committee, I appreciate you willing to serve. Straight up appreciate it. Because I'm gonna tell you, when you get in and look at these things, before we make a vote, know that you're making a vote that makes a change. Know that you're making a vote that has an effect. And just make sure you're ready, you understand that vote's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to sway your vote one way or the other, but make sure you understand how that vote may affect things down the road. Sometimes it's easy to say yea or nay when you've heard things once. Be careful, know that yea or nay makes a difference. That's all I need to say.
Okay, Ms. Davis.
Well, I have a comment about that. I'm waiting for Landon to sign. Okay. What Landon had said about, city road planning discussion, but also.
There.
Try that? Okay.
Yeah.
And. You want to use this one? Yeah.
It's only had a red light on.
Okay, maybe it doesn't like my voice. I don't know. But I have, to my knowledge, since I've retired, I don't think the county has looked at a tax increase since you've been in office. Is that right, Stephen?
No, we have not been any serious discussion on a tax increase. We did have the current value update and we're getting ready to go into another, the 6-year valuation update, but no, there's not been any major in-depth discussion on tax increase.
Okay. Well, as we all know, we've had tax increases and some of them have been substantial over the years. And back in the day, we always approved a budget in July. So you kind of had a better understanding of what your firm numbers were going to be on expenditures and on revenues and what your fund balances were going to be. And when you're looking at a tax increase, if you're setting a budget in May, if you're presenting a budget in May, number one, the school doesn't have their BEP numbers, and you're just kind of grabbing at straws, you know, as to what you're going to be putting in for that budget. And same thing with the county side. We have always were conservative on what our fund balances were going to be, and we tried to keep it that way so we would not, you know, be in a bind in the years to come. But when you get to a tax increase, if you're looking at a 40-50 cent tax increase, you're going to need to take the time. I mean, you can have that first reading in May and if your numbers are better and you still got this tax increase, you can go back to your May reports and even, mid-June reports to see where your numbers are going to be. But I really think the 3 readings is probably still a good option for us. I know the comptroller is looking for expediency. They have their thoughts about those things. But they don't sit where you commissioners sit, having people ringing your phone off the hook about, you're going to raise my taxes, and it just gives you more time to have your numbers better together. Sometimes you can't avoid a tax increase, but we've been blessed that we didn't even have to look at it for the last 2 or 3 years. And I really do think having the time to see where your numbers are is beneficial. And I know we have sent budgets back many times. Even when we were doing them in July, the budgets have gone back, said, no, we're not going to accept that. So the better you have that budget ready to go, the easier it's going to be when it's time to get it passed by June 30th, which is a tough thing to do if you're sitting in the accounting office and putting numbers together.
Do we have any discussion from anyone else, or do we want to make a recommendation tonight on maybe putting this off for a while, do more study on it, or what do y'all want to do with it?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to clarify one thing. I think it's been said that the comptroller's office recommended this. They did not recommend it. They requested we consider it. So it was not a recommendation. They just requested that we look at that, but they did ask for to be done by or at least look at it being done by resolution. There's a lot of other counties that do it, but I just wanted to clarify that in case they call me later and be like, hey, we didn't recommend anything. I just wanted to clarify that.
Mr. Beller, you have anything to say on this? Okay. Mr. Jewell?
I would only like to say, this ultimately, even if you approve it, would have to go to the full
Commission.
public for a vote. And I think this is gonna be really hard to explain to the public why they should do this. That would be my biggest concern. I'm not against it. It would simplify my life a lot. But
Yeah, always.
I think it's gonna be hard maybe getting the public to understand why we want to do it. And personally, the charter, to me, needs to be a very good reason, and I have to do before we go with it. But that's just my opinion on it. I probably shouldn't.
That's fine. Ms. Mary Ann?
Did the comptroller's office, did we get a finding that when they did our audit, is this gonna, if we don't do it by resolution, are we gonna have a finding by the comptroller's office when they do our audit? Or is it just that they recommended that we look at it? That's,
No, there's not going to be any finding. They just, we had a different auditor came in and they were trying to figure out how we do our budget, and we ultimately had to send them the charter and explain it to them. And then they just recommended that we look at doing it by resolution, same with other counties. So no, there's not going to be any finding. There's just something for, as Ms. Jenkins said, for expediency. They just wanted you to look at it, but no, there's not going to be any finding on it.
Does anyone else have anything on it that wants to be discussed or clarified or anything? We'll.
I will say the way we've been doing it, we have had the budget into the comptroller's office before July 1st.
Yeah.
They had problems with some counties and local governments not doing that, and they've been pleased. As soon as we pass it, we send it to them, say, here's what we initially passed, and Amy puts the budget book together. That's the official document, send it to them, and they've been very pleased the last 2 or 3 years that we've got it in on time.
I know this is my second term on the commission. I think we've sent the budget back maybe twice in that length of time to redo it because there were some figures that didn't match up like they should or whatever. But it's just the will of this body of having, if you want to do some more study on it, we don't have to do it right now. Did they put a deadline on when to get this in to them? Or?
The comptroller's office didn't, but if you're going to submit it for a referendum, which is what it has to be done, I think it has to be the election commission by April 7th, 10th, somewhere around in there.
So we've got approximately 6, 8 months before we can put it on a referendum like that. But any other discussion from anyone? And like I said, we don't have to do anything on it tonight. We can do more study on it, more thinking, more reading. Like I said, we don't have to have it till, this is April, we've got 6, yes, Miss Debbie.
Since we have several members who have not really had a chance to go over this in the charter, I think it would be the best idea to just, let everybody have time to read it and discuss among themselves, get some feedback on it as to, from Amy and Stephen and, and the other elected officials that have their budgets that they get in. I don't really see that it would affect them that much because they have to have it in, but they do need to be included as far as asking how it's going to affect them if they care one way or the other.
Do you want to make that into a motion?
I do. I move that we consider this at a later date, I guess suppose table it and let everybody have time to get familiar with what's in the charter.
Do I hear a second? Okay. Check. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. And motion carries. Yes, let's go. Oh, well, maybe we need to change our motion and not table it and just this meeting again tonight, yeah. But to the next, yeah. If you want change your motion to that.
I would like to amend or to change my motion to say, to take it up at our next meeting.
Okay. Because I know if you table it, it's supposed to be taken up the night that it's tabled later. So you okay with the second that? Okay. Anybody else have anything to bring up, discuss, or? Mr. Jewell.
I will remind all of y'all, if you have topics that you're concerned about in the charter, or if public talks to you about them, it's kind of your obligation to bring them to this body for their consideration. So, take the role seriously and realize it's more than just being.
Like I said, we'll see that everybody gets a copy. Well, there's 2 copies. You got the original and you got the updated one. And we'll see that I know a lot of you probably haven't seen them, and we'll get everybody a copy of each one. Do you have plenty of copies at the office, Mayor?
We just got the book, but we can print off other ones.
Okay.
And I think they were also sent a link to the county's website that has the most updated charter on it.
Oh, well, Miss Debbie says she tried to get into it and was locked out for some reason.
I don't know why. I'm looking at it right now and I brought it up, so I'll send it to you again.
There may be some kind of block on my computer or something that's keeping it from coming in.
Well, if you can't get to it on a computer, just go by the mayor's office and you can pick up both, or what, if you need it, want it, need to read over it and go through it, because there's a lot of stuff in there, and a lot of it you won't understand. But Mr. Beller he's updated on it. He can give him a call and he can help you go through it. Yeah. If there's no other discussion, do we have any public comments on anything? If not, I guess we need a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Okay. All in favor? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.